What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about why I switched teams, and now I am Team Sony. Let's get into it. For any of you guys that have been following the channel for a while now, you have seen me change camera systems over the course of not a lot of time. I have been Team Canon, Team Panasonic, Team Blackmagic. I have shot on so many cameras, and all of them have their pros and cons. So let's go over the 6 things of why I picked the Sony system and chose to go on the Sony team. And then we'll go over some things that maybe annoy me and that I hope they will continue to do in the future or fix some of these things. Reason number 1 I went with Sony is they throw everything in there and the kitchen sink. I've shot with a lot of cameras like the Canon EOS R. Great camera, love that camera. However, there's a lot of things that they locked up on it and they could have unlocked and gave us more, and they just like to cut things out of the camera, and Sony does not do that. I decided to buy an FX3 because I liked the XLR attachment that went right onto it, and I liked that it was a little bit more video centric. For the bigger brother on the team of my Sony cameras, I decided to pick up the Sony FX6. That's actually what I'm shooting my A-roll with right now. It is hands down my favorite camera. It may not be the best, and like it gives you raw and a lot of these seriously pro features, and I've shot on some serious pro cameras. I'm talking all the way up to Arri cameras. I've shot on some serious high quality cameras, and this FX6 is still my favorite camera. It is the best run and gun. It is the best still for a team. You can strip it down really small. I've even flown this thing on a gimbal. The versatility of this camera, in my opinion, is unmatched. Reason number 2 I wound up going with Team Sony is the autofocus. I used to be die-hard Canon autofocus. I used to say it was the best, and I genuinely feel like Sony has beat Canon out on their autofocus. I used to never rock autofocus on professional settings, and let me tell you, at my job we shoot a lot of things. We shoot a lot of corporate commercials, we shoot a lot of ads, we shoot professional sports, we shoot weddings, we shoot everything, and 99% of the time we are rocking autofocus. There's very few times that we're not rocking autofocus, and that may be really the only times is when we're using serious cine prime lenses that we're slapping on there, and at that point you're having someone pull focus for you. If any professionals are saying that you shouldn't be using autofocus and that you have to be pulling focus, they're full of crap, because the jobs that we're shooting are for serious clients where I work, and we're rocking autofocus. Reason number 3 I went with the Sony system is the quality of image coming out of these cameras. I absolutely love that I can rock the FX9 all the way down to the A7S III, and they're gonna all pair together. Now, of course, the FX9 is a little bit of a different color science. I do have to tweak a few things, but you're talking like it's the tint. You barely have to change something in the tint and you're basically good to go. Having all these cameras that you can just set next to each other and sync them up and get a perfect image out of all of them is amazing. The quality that's coming out of these cameras has always blown me away, and it's something I've honestly been jealous of when I wasn't Team Sony for so long. I would always find something to complain about and be like, well, the older camera's overheated and whatever it is, but the quality that always came out of them still blew me away, and we're talking like 3-4 years ago. So the quality that's coming out of them now is just really honestly has me speechless. Reason number 4 I went with Team Sony is they have glass for days. Now, I understand Canon has a lot of glass, but they have like 3 or 4 systems now, different mounts that you have to hook the glass to, but Sony has glass that works across the whole system. I'm going with the trinity of lenses, the 16-35 2.8, the 24-70 2.8, and the 70-200 2.8. You could use the same glass on a crop sensor lens and vice versa, and either punch in on the camera like the FX9, we've done that before, or you can use clear image zoom, which I have used before, and it is amazing. I may have to make a video about that. If that's something you guys would like to see, drop it in the comments below. Reason number 5 I went with Team Sony is ease of use. Before you start freaking out in the comments below and you're like, their menu systems are so crazy, how can you deal with them? So they have custom menus you can set up. Plus, like the FX6 and the 9 and all these other cameras, but me personally having the FX6, I have so many buttons on the outside that I don't very rarely ever have to dive into the menu. And even then, if I do have to dive into the menu, if you spend a couple days to a week with a camera system, it doesn't matter how complicated it is, you're gonna understand it. If I picked up the new camera tomorrow that I've never used before, never used anything from this company, I would still have a hard time finding it, even if it's a little bit an intuitive menu system. The argument of people saying the menu is too complicated really are just saying they're lazy and they don't really want to figure it out themselves. And the last reason I went with Team Sony is their quality control is great. I went from a Blackmagic Pocket 4K to where I bought one and a friend of mine bought one and mine worked and his didn't work. And then I was looking at the 6K Pro that came out and I really thought that was the camera I was gonna get. Then they started having all these problems and you get what you pay for, basically. I understand this last one's kind of a stretch, but I'm running out of things to talk about and why I went with Team Sony. Now, before I wrap this video up, let's talk about a few reasons of why you may not want to go with Team Sony. Reason number one, you may not want to go with Team Sony is the microphone holder. It does not fit most microphones. This is really random, I know, especially on the FX6, the 9 and the FX3, all of them have the same mount, and I'm pretty sure the attachment you can buy for the A7S III, the XLR attachment that goes on top. I looked for a long time trying to find what it was that would go in there and hold the microphone better. Finally figured out it was called a spacer, which who would have thought that's what it's called? It's basically a little rubber piece that goes inside. I honestly feel like Sony, you could have thrown a couple of those in for people that have different size XLR microphones. I will link the microphone spacers in the description below. It's only a couple bucks and it will save your butt. If you're rocking a Sony camera or you have some kind of shotgun microphone holder and you need it to be a little bit better of a hold, check that in the description below. Reason number two that you may not want to go with Sony is they are expensive. The FX3 I have is almost $4,000 for the body. The FX6 is like $6 grand for the body. And then if we're talking about the glass, each one of these lenses is very expensive. There are some third parties like the Sigma I have, the 24-70 is a phenomenal lens. So there are third party options for lenses, but if you're wanting to go with the Sony lenses, they are pricey, so heads up. And my third and last reason that you may not want to go with Sony is they have a tendency recently to be pumping out cameras when they still have cameras that they're seriously back ordered on. Now, I do understand with the pandemic and everything that's gone on in the last year of this world, it's going to throw some things behind. However, I feel like you probably could have pumped these cameras out before you started working on the new ones when you had like months long waiting list. Like for the FX6 that I ordered, I think I waited 3.5 months for this thing to come in. Luckily, I wasn't like waiting on it for work or anything like that, but it is a little annoying. So if you're gonna go with Sony, keep in mind it may be hit or miss if they're going to be in stock and how long it may take for them to be in stock. I think that gives you something to think about if you're looking at Team Sony or going with another camera system. Hopefully this gives you some kind of idea. If you guys would like me to do a way more in-depth review, like a long-term review of the FX3 or the FX6 that I have, please let me know in the comments below. If you guys got something out of this video, give me a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about these cameras. Are you Team Sony or are you Team something else? I would love to hear your opinion in the comments below. If you guys are new here, consider subscribing, ringing the bell. You guys are amazing. I'm the Iron Giant. I'll see you next time. Peace.